I don't
Next,
know what it is.
Mom, who's your favorite kid?
Talk loud enough.
All right.
All of you.
Bob, can you hear if we talk this loud?
I
Does
think
that
if you
work?
talk that loud, it'll be great. We have
All
20
right.
minutes of rolling time.
Great.
Begin now. Fire away.
All right, so Mom, please begin by telling us the date of your birth, the time if you know it, and where you were born.
I would be happy to. I was born April 7th, 1929 at 2841 Langston Street, Northeast, Minneapolis, Minnesota. What else?
That's
That was
good.
it.
What about your
And you're 90 years old.
My full name is Janet Mary Rivers Carlson. Woohoo!
All right, on your 90th birthday, we're talking.
Well,
Yeah.
A week after.
Well,
This is
this
a
month,
week
yeah.
after 90th birthday. Right. So, do you remember anything about that day?
I'm sorry, Lindy, I was too busy.
Oh,
I didn't have time to
Get sorted out, Grandma.
was this a house or a hospital? Sorry.
It was a home. Mother had all 8 of us by a midwife. They came to the home. So,
On the same midwife?
and the woman that delivered me and my younger 2 sisters was Granny Smith. Well, in fact, she delivered all of us. Granny Smith, and she was a little black lady.
wow.
So, Mom, tell us about the home you were born into and what it was like and the family situation and where you were in the birth order.
Well, the house was small. When I think of it now, it looks large, but it wasn't. There was a living room across the front. There was a stairway up to the apartment upstairs. Then behind the living room was a small dining area. And behind that, there was a big kitchen. And off of the kitchen, there was a bedroom, like a dormitory. And all of us kids slept in there, boys and girls. There were bunk beds and cribs for the little biddies. And then the folks' bathroom was just on the other corner of the kitchen. And my grandmother, Rivers, lived upstairs, and she had a kitchen and a little sitting area in the bedroom. And that's all I know I can remember of that house.
And you said there were 8 children in the family. Where were you in that? What number were you?
I was number 6.
Okay.
You want to start from the oldest and go to the youngest? That would be
Okay, Sydney was the oldest, Mildred was the next oldest, Harold was the next, Lois or Bootsy was the next, and Chuck was the 5, and then me, and then Donna or Babe, and then Geraldine was the last one. Geraldine was not born in the house. She was born on Arthur Street, and I don't remember the number of the house, but on Arthur Street Northeast.
So when you were born, was Uncle Sid still at home with Grandpa and Grandma? Did he still live at home?
As far as I know, as I can remember, Lindy, yes.
So and Auntie Mill did, and all the kids were at home at that same time.
At that point.
So, Mom, tell us about
Would have been 14.
what did you, as a kid growing up, you know, what games did you play? What was life, your day-to-day life like?
We had it wasn't really a dump across the street, but it,
You're talking about the neighbors, Mom? Yeah, we've had that problem before.
but anyway, it was kind of an indentation in the earth, and all the kids played over there. It was just dirt.
It's eventually where they put Lowry Grade School. Across the street from you on Lincoln Street.
No, did I say street? I meant to say alley.
Yeah.
Oh, across the alley. Oh,
Yeah. And all the kids played back there, but I was too small at that point to. I lived in that house until I went to kindergarten. And then we moved to the Arthur Street address, and then I went there until I was in the 3rd grade, at which time we moved to Route 4, Box 68, Aiken, Minnesota. And we lived 2 years there, and I went to the little 1-room schoolhouse. we moved back to the Twin Cities and we lived at 3213 Second Avenue South.
Now, were those moves because of your dad's job?
Yes.
And say more about that.
Well, he was a Minneapolis fireman and he wasn't making very much money, and he thought that it would be less expensive for them to live up north and we kids go to the country school than living in the city. Well, you know how it is when you got kids and one of them is always sick and you have to go to the doctor often, so we all moved back to, as I say, 3213 Second Avenue South. And I was there until I was in the 7th grade.
So when you lived northeast Minneapolis, did you go to kindergarten at Lowry Grade School?
Lowry High School.
Lowry Grade School.
Larry Grace.
Grade school, pardon me, which was right across the street from our house. So walk out the front door and you cross the street and we're at school.
But there probably was no kindergarten.
Yes,
There was.
There wasn't one.
kindergarten
But in
through,
their
that was a K through 8.
Okay,
That was crazy. This is the-
I don't remember much of that.
I can say that because I lived
Actually, I don't.
Yeah.
And when we moved to the Arthur Street address, I remember walking those blocks, and I can't remember how long it was, but to go to the 2nd and 3rd grade.
So that house on Second Street, no, the one when you came back and you lived down south,
32, 13.
you've driven us by that house, several of us by that house multiple times. That looks like a really big house. Did it feel like a really big house?
I suppose it did when I was a little bitty kid, but it had a kitchen, dining room, living room, and a little tiny, well, it'd be a study today, but it had the basement door in it, so you could not from the kitchen into this little area with a door that went to the basement. So it was kind of like a library room, and it had a closet in it for winter coats and that kind of thing. And a living room, a dining room, a kitchen, and the upstairs had 3 bedrooms.
Mom, what was your first memories as a child? I mean, when you think way back, would it have been in the Lincoln house or the Arthur house?
Arthur Street.
Arthur Street house?
That's where Geraldine was born, so that she was born in,
So 35, was she born in 35?
yeah, she was just 80 or 81 now, even
Yeah.
before she died.
Yeah.
So, but that's how old I was at that point in time.
Mom, it just make you uncomfortable.
Does this make you uncomfortable?
Okay.
Nice
Yeah.
question, Greg.
How about how you went through high school and when did you meet Vern?
I met Vern when I had graduated from high school, went to Minneapolis and got a job right away through a cousin of my dad's. She said, we'd love to have you come and work for us. It was called Reinhardt Brothers.
Yeah.
Had automotive
Distribution.
center. And he was in the credit department at Reinhardt Brothers. And that's where I met him. And one afternoon, he and another gentleman that worked there said the twins or the Millers that were playing baseball and would I like to go. I had never been to a baseball game, so I said sure, I would go with them. So that was fine. I don't remember who I rode to the ballpark with, but when the game was over, we came out of the stadium, and the 3 of us started walking up Nicollet Avenue to where their cars were parked. And so they stood there debating who was going to take me home. And Vern said, well, she's kind of on my way home, so why don't I just drop her off? Which he did. And so I wish I could remember that other kid's name. I can see him, but I can't remember his name. But anyway, he said, okay, I'll see you at work tomorrow. So we all met at the office the next morning.
So Mom, when we were kids and going to elementary school, we would have to walk a mile to this class in the morning in the blizzard, walk home at lunch to eat lunch at home, walk back after lunch to school, and then at 3:34 walk in. So a lot of walking in the weather. When we were kids going to elementary school, how about you? When you lived up at the lake, where did
We
how?
walked 3 miles one way to school. We were at school all day until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We walked the 3 miles back home. That was when the weather was really nice. However, when the weather was bad and we wanted to get home in a hurry, when the lake was frozen, we would walk across the lake and walk backward into the wind and go across the lake, which was 2 miles rather than 3 miles.
Did Grandpa have a sleigh? Did he ever take you in the sleigh?
No, he didn't take us in the sleigh. He had a little there was a little shepherd pony, and he made a contraption to put the pony in. And that worked for about 3 or 4 rides, and the pony got wise, and he wouldn't move when we kids wanted him to. And when Dad was there, he'd run like the devil, and we couldn't hang on because he was sitting on a little box thing he made up front. We 2 kids, Dave and I, were on the back. It was a disaster. So we gave that up. The pony lost his good home. We all started walking.
So you met Vern at this game.
Yep.
He took you home. No kiss on the first date.
Herb Oval.
Yeah,
Was
that was
Herb
Herb
Oval.
Oval.
You met Dad at work.
Right,
He took you to the game.
with
The
her.
2
with
guys.
the 2 guys.
Yeah. So when did he decide? Okay, I'm gonna date Jan. And what was after the game? Now what happened?
He did. We got in the car and he said that he told his dad that he'd fill the car up and he'd be home by 10 o'clock. And apparently he got home by 10 o'clock because he drove me right straight home. He said, I'll see you tomorrow at the office.
What did he tell you later about if you hadn't have gotten in the car?
Well, that was sometime later when we were really going steady. And he said, you know, if you'd have gotten in the car with her that night, I never would have asked you out again.
But as long as he suggests me a very good reason.
That's right.
So Mom, how did he propose?
You know,
He,
Where were you? Do you remember?
yes, I very definitely do remember where it was. And you know that causeway that goes in front of Betty's house to get up by
At Lake
Betty's?
Minnetonka?
Oh,
Lake
Gray's Bay.
Gray's Bay.
Gray's Bay. Well, we had gone to the show, and after the show, he drove out there. And of course, we were sitting there smooching,
Oh,
hugging and kissing.
there it was.
Oh my God. He said, well, there comes a time in every fella's life where he has a question to ask.
Oh.
And he took the ring out of his pocket and he asked me if he'd marry me.
wow.
And that was it.
And did you say yes?
I said, I'll think about it.
Thank you.
And you were married where? Tell us about your wedding.
We were married in the Parsons, the pastor's parsonage on Minnetonka Boulevard in about, what is it, Georgia or something like that, at the St. Louis Park Free Church parsonage. His folks and my folks were there, and the minister married us in the afternoon. And Ruth and Marge had a beautiful reception for us at their home afterward. And we stayed at the Calhoun Beach Hotel the first night we were married. And the second night, the girls were gone, so we stayed at his mother and dad's house because we were leaving for the North Shore during the next day. So we went up to Split Rock along the North Shore and had a cabin there for 3 days.
attendance at the wedding?
Babe, and my sister-in-law, Ruby,
And who were the guys?
Maynard and Harold.
So, did you start thinking about having a family, and when did that occur, and how did that all happen?
Well,
Not the details, please don't.
no, I know. I guess I really can't answer that because I don't remember thinking about having a family. It didn't take me but 3 months to get pregnant. So, and when he was born in July, the next year, 50.
They wasted no time.
Was Lindy born at St. Barnabas?
No, she was born at Deaconess.
I'm the only one.
Always have one, Mom.
Where were you born? Where was Greg born? St. Barnabas.
Oh,
Me too.
Me too.
you started this, Kelvin.
And why was that? Did your physicians, your obstetricians switch hospitals, or did you change
No, I
physicians?
worked,
or-
yes, I did change physicians because I worked for the doctors that delivered cattle.
Mom, tell us about raising these 4 whippersnappers. What was it like as they grew up? What were those moments where you wanted to, trade them in? And
Exchange number. Well, I guess, like any young family, they were fun to have around. There were days when you would have traded them in. But Mindy was the second mom, and she helped me and took care of the kids a lot. Or when I was doing other things in the house, she watched the kids.
Mom, could you educate us as to what might have happened to the strap?
I wish
Yeah,
I could
the six
answer. I wish I could answer that. And I'll tell you, we had it for years. However, we were having a sofa recovered, and your father hauled it down there. And a couple days later, when they were taking the old covering off to put on a new covering, the fellow called your father and said, "We found a gadget in this sofa, and we'd like to know what it is." And he said it was a cat of 9 tails, and he gave it back.
And you might explain what a cat of 9 tails is and how it came to be in your possession in the
Well,
first place.
The first thing, when my oldest brother got married, my dad took pieces of old harness, and the straps that fit along the horse, and he cut pieces about 9 inches long, and he shaped it kind of nice like this and down, and it had 9 little strips on it. And he just made them real nice, and he made one for every one of his kids. And I think Greg was probably the only one that ever got it on the back of his leg. He wouldn't mind one day, and I thought, believe me, this is gonna stop. So I swatted him.
Yeah, like it.
And he said, "Mommy, that hurts." And I felt it. So then, we totally lost it when he was about 4 years old. Have no idea what kids did what with it, but it disappeared.
Yeah. I would bet Greg put it somewhere.
I would have Greg put it somewhere too.
So the
You guys have been all around.
first disappearance where it was in the couch,
We were afraid of it.
Yeah.
The 3 of us were so afraid,
do
but
you
all
think
Mom
you
had to
hid
do
it though?
Uh,
One of you hid it.
Oh, I didn't want to touch it.
No. All Mom had to do was open the drawer and hold it in her hand, and it was like, okay.
I give.
But he
But not
pushed
him.
the
Limit.
limit that day, and he just wouldn't stop doing what he would, and I don't remember what it was, but I do remember spanking, and I only cracked him once in the back of the leg, and that ended it.
Oh! You heard, Mom.
Okay.
I think Greg has a question he'd like to ask Mom.
Mama, your favorite, the best vacation we went on.
This vacation,
The family.
The family.
All 6 of us. Talk about one. Talk about one.
well, the one that I remember the most was when Greg was about 2.5 years old.
I don't remember that, Mom.
No, you don't. But anyway, we went out west, and it was a convention that we were going to, and it was when the what's that big ship?
Enterprise.
The Enterprise
Yeah, the
was
Enterprise.
coming
Aircraft
into
carrier.
port into San Francisco. So Dad headed there first because we would be able to see it, which we did. It was very interesting. And Ruthie rode with us, and she took care of Greg while we all went to the top of the Fairmont Hotel and saw this big ship come under the Golden Gate Bridge. And anyway, but to get there, we went through, what park was it?
Estes,
With the one where he walked on the ledge, remember?
Grand
Canyon.
The Grand Canyon. And we couldn't grab him fast enough because he was being a little swift. He just kept walking. But anyway, and he's walking on a thing about this wide, and finally, I don't remember who got to grab him. I had visions of him falling off the side and being killed. But anyway, we went there, and then we went to the Fairmont and saw the ship come in. And after that, we drove up the coast to, I don't remember where it was.
Seaside.
That was a different trip.
No, but you and Ruth take care of the kids when he was little.
Was that the one, did we stop at, was that the trip we stopped in Chico? And saw that
I think so, yes. I think
Saw Mary
you're-
Gordeman?
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
That was it. But otherwise, Vern and I were going to the convention. It was at the big, the Fairmont, Hotel in San Francisco. No.
This is when he worked for Lincoln?
Yes.
Yes.
Lincoln
Yeah.
Convention?
Yep. And we were there for 3 days, and Wendy and Ruthie took care of the kids. We were in the motel. So,
And Dad was in the Navy, which is probably why he was so interested in seeing this ship
yeah.
come into
Exactly.
under the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
I'll never forget
I'll
it.
forget
Never.
that.
With all the fireboats, and it was a most amazing spectacle.
But this fog, how San Francisco Bay is in the morning, and it was just real foggy, and you see this monster of a thing coming under the bridge. It was really kind of scary. And we were on the top floor of the Fairmont Hotel. Dad talked to someone that got us up there, and it was beautiful to see that thing come under there. But anyway, then when we were through with that, it was time to go home, and we headed north, I suppose, whatever highway goes out of San Francisco up to through Reno
50.
and Chico, and we stopped in Chico
He wasn't there.
because it was Grandma Sher's niece that lived there. We stayed the night with her, and Vern had flown home because he had to work, and Ruth and Ruby, this girl here,
Wendy,
and Lindy were doing the driving. And so anyway,
It would have been like 1965.
so we just drove home from down there. It was however, we kind of got lost. And we were in South Dakota, but we didn't know where in South Dakota. I'll never
Did you set
forget
your
that.
GPS, Mom?
No,
Two
every
Swedish
place.
women driving.
But as usual, our cars are always low on gas. And we were driving along, and Ruthie was driving, and she pulled into a farmer's yard. They wouldn't answer their door. So I still know where we were. We backed out of that yard and started driving. We ran into a herd of buffalo, and we couldn't go on. They were crossing the road, and the gas gauge was going like this. So finally, the darn cows stopped walking, and Ruthie drove on. We were near Rapid City. We drove into Rapid City and naturally got more gas. But it was a fun
Nail
trip.
biter.
Yeah, it was a nail biter.
Every trip we took was a nail biter somewhere along the way.
And what kind of car are you in at this point?
Oh gosh, we were in a station wagon.
Yeah,
I
station
suppose it
wagon.
was a Chevy.
It was a Chevy.
We had a Bel Air 68 Bel Air, but that was
This
the
was
next
before
yeah,
family
that.
yeah.
vacation.
Mom,
They had
when,
65.
when did the love affair with Leech Lake begin? How did that all start?
What?
The love affair with Leech Lake. How did you get up? So much of your life was around Leech Lake.
We were going on vacation with the Michaelses. Do any of you remember
Oh.
Jerry and
Oh,
Faye Michaels and their kids? They lived in Mankato, yeah. And he was an agent in the same company that Dad was. And anyway, they decided that we would go as two families. So we drive up to Leech Lake and stayed over on a grand
Stony
in a
Point.
campground.
Stony Point. Remember we had
Stony Point, yeah. A campground on Stony Point, and pitched our tents, and we all stayed there. And one day we decided to take a ride in the boat and over the waves. And Jerry and Dad insisted that we were going to go through the Narrows. Well, we got over on that side of the lake, and it was nice and calm. Well, there's a for sale sign in front of this little broken down cabin. Dad called it the next day, and the guy said, well, I'll show it to you if you're available. So we took the boat over there again, and that's how we got it.
Was that the little cabin?
And the little
big
cabin had to come with it, or we wouldn't have taken it.
Okay, the two, okay, the whole
Yeah.
cabin.
So that's how we got that back.
What year was that?
1968.
Because they called me up to Stavis and said, oh, by the way, we bought a lake place.
And remember the grass when we stopped to
Yep.
look at the place. I mean, it was,
The
Greg
weeping
was cheered.
willow.
It was, the grass was 3 feet high. And we were kind of leaping trying to get up the hill, and there was this beautiful old white willow in the front.
Beautiful old watches.
Weeping willow tree.
Oh,
It had a nice dog pen in the back. It had a little apple tree or something right out the back. We thought it was pretty spiffy.
Down below, big huge rocks.
But a dirt road to get to it, correct?
And a dirt road.
13 miles.
13, you're right, Greg, 13 miles of dirt.
So, Mom, much of your time was in St. Louis Park. What was it like living in St. Louis Park, raising kids? I can remember, pulling in the driveway and getting the light flicked on and off if I sat too long in the car. But I remember Kev parking in the driveway too long, and Karen and I banged on his door. What were some of the things about raising kids in St. Louis Park?
Well, I thought it was very nice. I mean, we had a nice neighborhood of kids. They all got along very well. We had the creek down below. In the winter, they all had their skating rink down there, and they had a lot of fun down there. So I thought it was very, very nice.
Boys had a fort in the backyard,
In the
up
back.
in the trees.
You remember that?
Of course I remember that.
And we had a backyard
I know
full of
we'll help go.
pear trees, there was apple trees, there were some plums, I believe. And one day, Father decided we're getting rid of those he'd gotten stung about 15 times by big wasps.
And you're pointing at
From
Greg.
all, yeah, Greg, yes. They really went for him. And Father said, enough is enough. We've picked up enough rotten fruit day after day after day. He took a chainsaw and honest to Pete, he cut down 12 trees. And they were in the front yard. He stacked them up in the front yard and then had to try and find someone that would come and grind them up, which finally he did. And the city would.
Kind of opened up the yard down on Minnehaha Creek.
It was just, we could see it nice and clear and plain.
But this house also had the 2 blue spruce.
Oh, yeah, the blue spruce that were in the backyard.
That also had to be cut down. And one of them became the Christmas tree at the state capitol.
Yeah, it was a beautiful tree.
Really?
Yep.
Mom, when you think about all the years, what can you reflect on? What were some of the happiest or best times you and Vern had, and what were some of the toughest, hardest times?
I don't know, I think we always had a happy time, Bob. I don't think that the kids all got along very well.
Yes, we did.
Yes. No, but they were real good. They liked the area themselves, and we enjoyed where we lived. It was a little touchy once in a while with the neighbors to our right, but other than that, we got along fine.
What about the neighbors to the right?
Well, you know, but
Sometimes a little too close.
a little too close for comfort. But anyway, it was really nice. And I think the hardest thing was to sell that place and move to the lake.
And this is 89-15 you're
That's
talking
it.
about.
Yeah. When did you sell that and move to the lake? What year was that? 80?
When did 1985?
No, 70.
No, Greg was,
No,
Greg
Greg was in,
Walker, I know.
Greg was in
79.
Ninth grade.
No, he was in the 10th
10th
grade.
grade.
He finished the 10th grade at St. Louis Park and he started up
77.
there on the 11th. In the 11th grade.
Year we married.
Yes.
77?
So, and the rest is history. We lived at the lake. That
So-
was tough.
Living at the lake.
When it was just Greg and I, it was,
That was some of the tough times.
yeah, that
I'm
was.
sorry, Mom.
No, it wasn't you. It was just the whole, moving up there. We moved in the fall
You were isolated.
and we were
Vern was on
isolated,
the
the only one on the road. And, what were we, 25 miles from Walker?
30 of them.
From Cass Lake and 25 from Walker. So, and we had to carry wood in every day for the little stove in the dining room. That was the only heat we had.
Well, that brings you back to your childhood, when you had to carry wood in every day at the lake when the accident happened. You haven't talked about that.
No, I didn't.
What,
I don't remember what year that was either.
You know how old
I
you were.
was in the 10th grade.
So you would have been 14,
14,
15,
15.
right around 14, 15. And what?
No, we had moved
33, 34.
on our second move to Aiken, Minnesota. Mother, I don't remember what they had originally driven to the cities for, but on the way home, her sewing machine had never moved with us. And so she and Dave had driven down to Minneapolis, like on I don't remember, like a Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon after school. And they picked up the sewing machine, they went and stayed with my Aunt Ida, then they took off during the week, and they picked up the sewing machine, was riding in the back of the car. So they start for Aiken, and they're gonna drive up Highway 169. And I don't know how many of you have ever driven there, but there's Elk River, there's a railroad tracks that you had to go over to get onto Highway 169. And they had gotten over the railroad tracks and about to turn right when a panel truck lost control. It was on ice, lost control, and hit them broadside in the front. Their mother and babe drove right into the middle of it. And of course crashed the car that babe was driving at the time. The steering wheel post hit her in the chest. Wyatt didn't go right through, I guess. I when I was there by myself, I couldn't imagine what had happened. But anyway, to make a long story short, they were then taken by ambulance back to Minneapolis, and Dad was informed that there had been an accident. And the nearest telephone to us at that point in time was 5 miles away. And he drove over there because the gentleman whose home the phone was in had driven over and told him all about it. So, but I remember him going back to make another phone call. Nevertheless, we packed Geraldine up, and he took her, and he went to the city, and I was left there by myself. I had 4 horses, 5 cows, a Shetland pony, and we had chickens, about 50, 75 chickens. And I guess that, and yeah, I think that was all right then. But anyway, it's freezing cold out. The lake has ice on it, almost 30 inches thick. I had to go down and chop a hole. It was about 3 feet long, 2 feet this way, so the animals could drink water. And Dad said, "I'm sorry I have to leave you here," but he said, "This is what I want you to have." So I chopped a hole in the ice and would let cows and horses out after I milked the 5 cows in the morning. Let them out, they'd go down on the lake and drink, come back up, I'd hook them back up in their stanchions and get the animals all back in the barn the way they were supposed to be. And I was deathly afraid of the horses because they were the first 2, the real workhorses were the first 2 in you come in the barn door and their back feet were right there. And I was deathly afraid. We had a little ladder up the side of the wall. I'd climb up the ladder, walk across the hay mound, shove their hay down, and do the same for the cows on this side. And then go down my little ladder. Or if the horses were having grain, I'd crawl through a little hole in the ceiling and I could climb down the little ladder that was there. But anyway, I did that morning and night.
And then go to
Correct.
school in
I
between.
know, I did
Oh.
go to school.
How long did you do that? For 3 weeks?
It was pretty close to 3 weeks
That you were alone.
that I was alone.
Build the fire,
Keep the fire going.
I had to keep the fire. Dad had a barrel. You've seen the barrels, old-fashioned barrel stoves where they have a drum that they put on one on top of the other. Well, that's what we heated, or the heat of the house was. And I had to, he cut logs 36 inches long, and I had to go get those and haul them into the basement and keep the fire going so I'd keep warm.
And
And
feed
okay.
yourself
then where'd you get water?
And pardon me,
Water?
to drink.
Your was.
went down, drew water out of the lake and put it through a milk strainer.
So did you take water from where the cows and horses were drinking?
You know,
Yeah.
you chop the hole open every morning and scoop the ice out and you'd have fresh water.
Mom, did the house burn down before this or after this? So you were in,
Ready?
you were,
Done.
So we're going to finish the story about Mom when she was about 14. At the lake, there was a family accident. Grandma Rivers and Aunt Babe, Donna, were in a terrible car accident on the way back from Minneapolis. And because Grandpa had to go to Minneapolis to be with them and check on them, he took Aunt Geraldine, and Mom was left at the lake house to take care of the animals herself, keep the fire going, etc., etc. So, what other items can you add to the story, Mom? What was in the house? Did you have electricity? How did you heat the house? What about taking a shower? Tell us about those things.
We did not have electricity that hadn't come into the Aiken County area where we live, so we didn't have electricity and or a phone service. And
Did you have running water?
I did not have running water. We did not have running water. We just had a little bit of a wood stove in the kitchen, and in the basement there was a barrel stove. I don't know how big the barrels were, but they held a 36-inch log. And to heat the place, and
to light it, you used to light the place,
I would little kerosene.
kerosene lamps,
Yeah,
like
maybe
one per
kerosene.
room or something?
Yeah, yeah, that's about all. Maybe 2 in the kitchen, but yeah, just I didn't let the fire go out. I get up in the middle of the night and refurbish it with more wood. And during the day, after I'd gotten all the chores done, I would go out and fill the basement. There was a little entrance into the basement, and I used to fill that up so there would be wood there for the next 24 hours.
What did you eat, Mom?
Yeah.
It wasn't like you could go to the refrigerator and open up the refrigerator and pull something out. So how did you eat?
Well, I ate a lot of, as I remember, I had a lot of oatmeal, and I had milk to drink from the cows, and there was chickens, I had eggs. I don't remember anything else because we did this. I said we didn't have a refrigerator, it was just an ice box.
Didn't your mom can?
And she can, yeah, there was, when the boys would shoot a deer, the mother would can the meat and have that, yeah.
And then
And vegetables that she had in the garden. So, tomatoes, and she made pickles, I don't remember, and jellies, she had jellies down in the cellar.
indoor plumbing?
Yeah, about a half a block away, there was a little house that had 2 holes about this big in it. So, I mean, it was crude. It wasn't fancy by any means, but I lived through it. You know what I mean?
Survived.
And thank the good Lord above, I didn't have an accident while I was alone. You know, that the cow might have kicked me off the stool, or the horses.
So when, after the accident, when you were back in school and such, how did you get to school? How far away was your high school and how did you get there?
Well, I had to walk 3 miles to the bus, and then we rode 12 and a half miles on the bus, and some friends of the folks in town offered to take care of Babe. When she could go back to school, she could live at their house in town, so she only had a few blocks to walk to school. But no, I walked back and forth morning and night to the bus.
What activities were you in high school?
None.
I thought you played.
I played in the band, but
That's
in the
an
middle
activity.
of winter.
What
in the middle of
instrument?
winter, trombone.
Trombone?
So, no, I walked back and forth to the bus that's why when I see mothers picking their kids up every afternoon and driving them home to school and then home from school, maybe 6 or 8 blocks, you know, these kids don't know what it is like to really,
The
Yeah,
kids are
the weather.
disappearing,
yeah.
walking to and from school too, so it's a different
Oh, that-
time.
Yeah, that, I understand that.
You wanna talk about your working history? What was your first job? How old were you then?
I was 18 and I worked at Reinhardt Brothers. Dad's cousin got me a job there. And I was working, filing, you know, just doing general office work. And then I finally, they trained me in on the switchboard. And that's all I did was on the switchboard.
So tell us about that switchboard.
It was a little thing, you pull a cord up, poke it in a little hole, dance with it. It would ring and you poke it in the hole. And if they wanted to talk to Vern, he was in station 12. You put the one in back answered the number, and the one in the front took the number to the person's phone. There were 2 cords that came. We had 12 sets, 12s. Yeah.
Like 12 extensions.
Yeah,
We would
12.
call them extensions
Yeah.
today.
And that till I got married. Then I quit work at the Reinhardts.
But at what point did you work for the obstetrician?
And after Lindy was born, she was 2, and I answered an ad in the paper that this office needed help, and I went down there and applied, and they hired me on the spot, and I worked there until after Kelly was born.
So what did you do with me during the day?
You were at Grandma Carlson.
Oh.
You were where?
She
How
was
did
at
that
Grandma
Grandma
Carlson. And so the doctors I worked for delivered you and Karen and Craig.
Dr. Herman?
No,
As a pediatrician. Dr.
Robbins
Mitchell
and Dr. Robbins and Mitchell.
And Dr. Mitchell's son was a student teacher when I was at Park High or something. And
Mansell,
Lot of
Lee,
girls.
Mitchell.
And where was this office? What town, city?
Downtown on 9th Street and Nicollet Avenue.
In the medical arts building?
Just behind the medical arts building was a doctor's building, and they were on the 3rd floor.
How did you get to work in the mornings?
I drove you up to the grandma and grandpa's, and I drove the car downtown and parked it in a little parking lot, just on the outskirts of downtown.
How far away
50 cents a day.
for parking? But how far of a trip was it to go to grandma's and then to
Oh,
work?
well, I had to drive to St. Louis Park.
Where did
From?
where did
Minnetonka Boulevard and Mattress Avenue, you know where that is.
but from where? Where were
Oh,
you living at
In
that time?
North Minneapolis.
In an apartment, a house?
We had a little 2-room apartment when Wendy was a baby. A living room, kitchen, door to the bathroom, and a bedroom.
Did you share with Uncle Harold or any other kid of your siblings?
Sure, how?
A house or an apartment?
No, Harold and Charlotte lived downstairs, right below us. We lived on the second
That's
floor.
what I was wondering.
But that took back to Nancy's question, how far was it to Grandpa and Grandma Carlson's? It was probably 10 miles.
I was gonna say
from
8
where-
or 10
Yeah.
miles that I had
That's
to
tough.
drive, and then drive downtown. And then at 5:30, when we got off work at 5, pick her up and get her home.
And no car seat.
And no car seat.
Or seatbelts.
Or
Seatbelt, she sat right alongside me.
Do you remember the car?
you know, as I remember, the family was so tight for you and Vern. Almost everything you did with this huge family that you both had on both sides.
Yeah.
Can you just say a little bit about your extended family and how those relationships developed, and they seem to go throughout your whole life. Well, you spent a lot of time with, I know, the aunts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we spent a lot of time with Bert's family, not his brothers, because one lived in Wisconsin, and one, unfortunately, something happened early in their family life that the family kind of disowned him. And then the third one, Uncle Buddy, yeah, he lived out in South Minneapolis. So we didn't see him a lot, but the girls we saw all the time. And they were not married at that time. So not until Lindy was about 7 years old when Ruby was married, and then of course we had George, and then Dorothy got married. So we had their homes that we used to visit, and they would visit us too.
But Lindy was the only one of us kids that really got to know Grandpa and Grandma Carlson.
Yes. Grandpa Carlson died when she was 3 years old, and Grandma Carlson died when you were from July to November old.
So how about your family? What do you remember of, like, when we were little kids, time spent with your family? Do you remember anything particular with?
Well, we were with Mel and Butch and their family the most. And Sid, my oldest brother, we didn't see him very much. We weren't close to that family. And who's next? Harold and Charlotte, we were with them because they lived right with us in the downstairs apartment. And Baby Minnie, we didn't visit hardly at all.
Does
Because
it
they lived,
Florida?
yeah, they did. They lived in Florida, and we didn't travel down to Florida. So,
Woods and Bill were traveling the world.
and Woods and Bill lived here and there all over the world because of the service that we was in.
So Geraldine moving to West Coast.
And Geraldine moved with the West Coast, soon after she was married, because Walter was in the service, and they lived. Oklahoma, I think, was the first place, and then they were out in California, and then she just stayed on the West Coast.
So, Mom, what was your favorite pastime? What did you really enjoy, like a hobby or knitting gifts for people,
I did a lot of knitting when I had spare time.
Who taught you to
Okay.
knit?
They call
What?
what you have in call
The time that you
You
call
really
spare
had-
time.
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, in spare
Yeah,
time.
what little
Oh,
time.
What little
she had.
spare time.
Yeah, what little spare time I had.
But who taught you to knit or?
Yes, when we were living at the lake up in Aiken, Boots had, when she graduated from high school, she went and worked for the telephone company also. And she moved out to Michigan and naturally got new friends. Well, her boyfriend at the time was in the Army, and he'd been home on leave and was heading back to the base and stopped in Evansville, Indiana. And I'm like, this is my sister Boots. And I suppose the guys got off the train and they had a few beers at a local pub, and he was stabbed to death.
Boyfriend?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so she was distraught, and she came or wrote to the folks. I don't remember how she got in touch with my parents, but anyway, they told her to come home. So she did. She got a leave of absence from the phone company, and she came home for a month. But the first 2 weeks that she was home, her best friend came home with her, and she was the gal that taught me how to knit.
Do
Wow,
you remember her name?
Sally Olson.
great story.
It really
Oh my God.
interesting story.
But
Wow.
then she went back to Michigan.
But then she went, after she was home for a while, she went back to Michigan and went to a party and was a blind date. She met Bill, her husband, and they started going together and then they got married.
You know, you and Vern seem to enjoy a love of athletics. You had Gopher season tickets, Viking season tickets, all that.
North Star.
Was that North Stars? Was that something that you loved, or you learned to love, or tell me about your
Well,
passion for sports?
Vern went back to school to finish his college education. And of course, he loved boxing also, so we'd go to boxing, the university boxing. And then we started going to the basketball games, and I just loved them, and the football games, and that's.
So when did he go back? How old was he? Were you married yet?
Yes,
I'm
we were-
confused
yeah.
about that.
After the
It was
service?
just before we had Lindy.
Okay, and he got a degree in
Business administration.
That was after the service.
And was the GI
After
Bill?
service.
Was that through the GI Bill? Was that even a thing back then?
It was a thing, but he did not go ahead to chair.
So as I understand, at one of those Gopher hockey games one night, you kind of liked the name of a hockey player named Kevin.
That's right.
I
Yeah, you got his name.
That's how I was named Kevin.
How did Lindy get her name? Who chose her name today? Do you know?
We just liked the name Linda, so we named her Linda Marie.
And then, as soon as she was named Linda, he started calling her Lindy. Dad did.
Between Dad and Uncle Harold.
Where did you ever come, Greg?
With 2 G's.
Yeah, how did you get?
Yes.
3 G's.
Well, we wanted all your names not to have more than 7 letters in it, and we came up with Greg, that would be a nice one.
In the last,
And I had been, and you had Karen Patricia, but she was always known as Trish. How did that come
That
about?
was Auntie Ruth. She called her Patty Trish. Where she started, why she did that, but when she was just a tiny baby, she called her Patty Trish. And Trish just stuck. Patty was dropped.
Mom, we got a minute and a half left. What are the things that you would like to tell your children and grandchildren? Lessons that you've learned about life. If you were to say in this last minute, here's my words of wisdom, my pearls as grandma, what would they be?
Be good.
be kind of.
To be kind to people. Treat them like you want to be treated.
We love you.
I love you all too.
Thanks for sharing your night with us.
Yep, thank you.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Now, if you guys all tune in to 60 Minutes, this will be on this next week. Exactly 60 minutes worth of history with Graham.
That's 90 years
Yeah.
into what, an hour or
Wow,
less?
that's right. Wow.
And
And it's
not
captured.
even all the fun things you remember if we
Yeah, more time to think about.
well, you have more time to go for your neighborhood.
So
That was very good, very good. Mom, that was very good. Thank you.
I didn't know you
And your heirs for a long time will cherish, and your children, great grandchildren, in your grade grades.